Hello and welcome to this Halloween special live episode of An Echo of Glory. Joining me on the pod today, Snake Sanders and Ghoulie Spiro.
I think that's the best we could do.
A bit of a skeleton in your old age.
Yeah.
Good, what are we, morning? Yep, good morning or good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're watching us around the world. A cauldron of hope, says Staten Carlberg.
Dead Spence.
Yeah, we're going to come to that. Yeah, give us your, those watching on the live stream, give us your Tottenham Halloween 11. Things like Ghoul Robinson, or as Mickey C here says, Dead Spence, and we'll go through a few of them. What
That's
you got?
appropriate right now, Dead Spence.
Yeah, where was he again?
I don't know.
Last night. Well, let's do. We've already had a couple in. We've had Gary Diamond, friend of the show, Freddie Kanuga, Robbie Scream.
Wait, why are we being trolled? Who's trolling us?
Hang on one sec. And Antonio Conte, just because Gary hates him.
Who's that? Gary Diamond?
Yeah, do you remember him?
Never heard of him.
No. We'll come to some of the comments in a minute, but a little bit of club news. The 21s played in that stupidly bizarre National League competition.
You tuned in for two penalties.
I watched two penalties. They missed one and we scored one. I was like, this is not very Spurs. We beat Ebbsfleet on penalties in the National League Cup. It's the 21s are playing in, or was it the 18s?
Why are they playing in that level of...
The National League suddenly decided to start a new competition and invited a whole load of...
It's like the EFL trophy.
Similar. And so there we are. Gary's got an assist for England. We'll go straight in. Gary settled in for the morning.
What's Gary's reason for not being here? He was so busy. He sits on YouTube.
He's got it live in the gym.
Trolling all of our members.
Amazing. Actual. I'm going to bring up the team because the team divided opinion in our WhatsApp group.
I was nothing wrong without it.
Enough our team.
Do you know what was quite interesting though? I saw some stuff about obviously City ended with a very youthful team, but I did see something. I don't know how reliable it was, but our average age was younger.
Ours was younger. Yeah,
theirs was 20, but that is because they're back four and keeper. But it was just quite interesting that our average age was actually 23, and their team that ended was probably still about 23.
But apparently Sky were sort of going on about how amazing City's youngsters were, blah, blah, all this. And again, we had the younger team.
All right. Well, here are the teams.
Well, ironically, one of their youngsters, that McAtee, is 22,
He's
which is actually older than Adogi, right?
Yeah, Gray.
And Sarr.
Gray. So the teams, Vicario, or as my dad said when I asked him for his Tottenham Spooky 11, Tricario. Gray, Romero, Dragusin, Van der Ven, more from him in a minute, about him. Kulusevski, the GOAT, Lolo, Bentancur, Sarr, Johnson, Solanke, Werner. I don't normally do the opposition team, but I am going to do it. Ortega, who I cursed at one point. I said, I think he's better passer than most of our players. And from that point on, misplaced every single
Who's
pass.
that?
Ortega. Really good with his feet, but he actually wasn't in the end last night. Lewis, Stones, Ruben Diaz, Ake. Diaz started but wasn't going to. Akanji got injured in the warm-up.
I didn't even know that until 10 minutes in.
Gundogan, Savinho, O'Reilly, McAtee, Nunes and Foden. I mean, it's not a bad football team. And I know that you had a go at me in the WhatsApp group.
But it was more because I understand what you were saying, but I just couldn't accept that we wouldn't beat that team. It wasn't just the fact that there was loads missing, but it was so square pegs, round holes. They had Foden as a false nine, and then Nunez, who's actually been playing really well for them.
Well, yeah.
But he's been playing well for quite a few weeks since Grealish has been out. Him on the left, and was it McAtee, and then Savinho, who's probably their most dangerous player at times. Gundogan, who's still not up to speed yet, with another youngster, was it O'Reilly? And the defence, yeah, okay, the
defence
really
pretty
capable
solid.
defence.
Yeah. My point was that Pep had come out after Watford and even in this week, saying, I'm not interested, I'm going to play the B team. I know that is their B team, but they've got for me, if he's not interested,
I basically
you'd
said
see
that
names
team.
that we've not heard.
I said the day before, I knew what the team was going to be. I was under no illusions that it was going to be anything other than that.
He did say that he was going to play some academy products, and Phil
Two.
Foden is an academy product, so he doesn't
So
lie.
he didn't lie.
But I agree with what you're saying because, and I said this to my friend last night when talking about City, when Savinho got injured, it's almost like if you don't give a toss, why don't you just start 6 youngsters?
Yeah,
Why would you
yeah.
risk anyone that's
That
going
was
to
my
play when
point.
you've got an injury? You know, they've got like 12 fit players. That's why I know it upset a few fans, but I just couldn't accept that we wouldn't beat that team at home. Not even in an arrogant way. Just we really needed it more, and they, sort of tossed it off.
Well, I
just
think
couldn't.
that's actually the most important. Like,
Yeah.
I unfortunately, with modern football where it is, the League Cup is where the League Cup is.
Yeah.
But I do think we needed a result last night more than they did.
But not just for the actual
100%.
cup, just
No,
because
no,
of the
but just
the bit
what
with
happened
the
on
best. That's
Sunday.
arguably the best result we've had since who under Ange.
Because of what happened on Sunday, the performance on
Yeah,
Sunday.
everything.
And actually, a big home cup tie. It was a sellout last night. And, there were the murmurings around the club and everything like that. It's murmurings, but yeah, we needed a positive result and performance.
Robert here. James, have you changed Robert's got a proper cockerel now. I don't know what it was before. Robert being an Echo of Glory member. I know some of you are subscribers, but go on to the YouTube channel and next on the desktop or laptop, or not on your phone, next to the subscribe button, hit join, I think, and help us out here on LaunchPod Studios. Big up, guys. Huge win last night. It was Robert, as we said. And he says, I expected more from Gundogan. He was anonymous. And Gary says, well, that's harsh. He was our most creative player. He did put in Werner for that chance that Werner missed. But I thought we started... I missed the first 5 minutes, actually. But we started on the front foot.
Why?
Yeah, so both of us...
Why did I miss the first...
Why did you miss the first
The
one?
traffic was an
Yeah.
Oh, really?
absolute
So
nightmare.
apparently there was an issue on the M25 that had filtered all the way through to Tottenham, obviously, because there's no other way to get out of London other than through Tottenham. So yeah, we were late. We only parked our car around the corner from the ground at about 8 o'clock or so. Then, like you, I went with my son, and therefore that means you obviously have to stop to buy food. By the way, the popcorn chicken in the chicken shop is very good.
Okay.
With waffle fries.
You on
below.
commission?
No.
Wait, in the ground?
In the ground, yeah.
The chicken house.
The chicken shop that's next to the south west corner.
Yeah.
So yeah, my son Walter and I enjoyed that, and we got up onto our seat just as Kulusevski was going down the right for the goal. So it's that weird celebration.
Are you that late?
So it's a really weird celebration when you
How
are
early
holding
was the
someone
goal?
else's food.
Yeah, well,
How early was the goal?
How late was he?
No. But yes, the goal was 5 minutes, wasn't it?
No. Bloody hell, it was. 5 minutes.
So
So I
that's
didn't miss the first 5
So that's
then.
8:20. So we've got to get from the car into the ground, go into the chicken shop, get accused of not paying for the Fanta that we had bought. There was another minute of time. Then get up to our seats, and I think we sit quite high up in the southeast corner. So by the time you get there,
Right.
yeah.
8:15.
Bizarre.
Why? I don't remember a League Cup game ever being 8:15. The only 8:15 games are Amazon Prime.
Yeah, no, because they wanted to do a 7:30, so they get a full game,
Half.
Liverpool-Brighton. Well, they get a full 90, and then they come to the second half for Spurs-Man City.
So that it's
they can
like
show-
it's what Amazon Prime do.
They can show 2.5
They
football
want
matches.
they want the
1.5.
continuous.
Yeah,
Then one, yeah.
1.5 football matches they can show. Okay, let's talk about Timo Werner. Got a text from Ali Tweedale this morning, Opta analyst, saying,
And friend of the show.
friend of the show, saying he was justified in his support for Werner. What I will say on this pod is, I don't know what the other pods are saying, but we've certainly not. He gets a lot of criticism for what he's missing in terms of chances. We've always been like, the thing about him, he never hides. And again, last night, I always say this. You've been a striker. I don't know what position you were. You've all played football and you missed a load of chances at any level. You're like, I don't want another one. I'm fine.
Ollie never used to miss.
Ollie never used... No, what? Yeah.
one of the great strikers of...
I
he doesn't
do
hide.
agree.
He
That is
could
one
hide.
thing that he's got. As much as I've been on to him a lot, and he does look broken, but he comes back for more. I don't know how he does it. He never
That's
goes.
a great attitude to
He
have.
misses chance. I was saying last night that he's missed about 6 sitters before last night in like the last
One-on-ones.
2 against United, 1 against
Trials.
yeah, 1 against AZ Alkmaar, and he also missed a few last. But he just comes back for more. Fair play to him for being that
And I love the
mentally
one-
strong.
Sorry, I love the one as well in the first half where he'd won the ball back around the edge of our box. He runs about 30 yards. It's opening up in front of him. You're like, well done. And then pass it straight off.
I know.
And you're like, oh.
He's so close to being really good.
But that's why he's. I think a lot of the criticism around him, I think it's what he also kind of personifies around the state of the squad and the sort of club at the moment, because you're sitting there thinking, yeah, January to the end of last season, you can see the virtue of taking someone on a 6-month loan, just get some extra legs, and he's got experience. Yeah, totally agree. But the fact that there's the re-signing it, and then what's happened in the window after that, which I think Werner kind of symbolises a lot, and I think there's a bit of that comes into it. Like,
for sure.
How many? If you went down the league and run the league as it is today, but if you think about you run the league top to bottom broadly on the sort of quality of the teams, at what point does Werner really get signed by a team? And no team in the top 6, and I think West Ham, it's about that 10th or 12th. And I don't think a club as big as Spurs should be having that in there.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the Werner dissatisfaction comes from.
His interview was really good. I don't know if you saw that. I always watch him. He seems like such a
nice bloke.
He's such a bloke that you want him to do well. Despite the whole, sort of stuff that the baggage that has come. But I almost felt a bit sorry for him when he scored, because he seemed a bit. I don't know if he seemed a bit awkward. He didn't really know how to celebrate, because it's been a long time.
He does hang around on the edge of the huddles. I don't know. I think
I know there was that photo, which I don't know sort of how.
I wonder whether he's a bit of, I don't know, recluse is the wrong word. Whether he's just, I don't know. I don't know the guy. It's just all speculation.
They seem to really like him, though.
Yeah, I don't think you can't not like him, but they did sing Timo Werner, he scores when he wants, which is good that he's.
I'm sure that
his
he
name.
Could see that if he heard that in a
sort
of tongue-in-cheek way.
Yeah.
I don't think.
No, they're not.
I don't think he
we've
sees
said
that
this
as
before,
taking the piss. He doesn't.
Correct.
The
home crowd don't take. We've said this before.
No.
They don't take the piss, but it was quite a tongue-in-cheek. Listen, he knows he's in a bad. He knows he's in a bad run of form, and I think it was good that they sung his name.
I recommend the interview. It's a really honest footballer's interview.
He seems like he really cares as well. He really does care.
I agree with Daz here. Vernon does everything right. I don't know everything right, but he does a lot right apart from the finishing. His all-round play is fairly solid. City were
petrified of his pace.
Petrified of his pace last night. He got in that chance.
There's no coincidence, as we were just saying. He gets more chances than anyone in our squad by a mile.
Talking of which, he's jumping ahead a little bit. Dominic Solanke has
not had a shot for 5 games.
6.
But this is my point, though, and like Brennan Johnson's not had many chances, and it's no coincidence. It's not just we just go down the left. There is something about Werner with his movement and his pace that he gets them. It doesn't just by chance always fall his way.
No.
But is that also potentially the way the opposition set up, thinking
they don't?
I'd rather it went to him than to elsewhere. Because that, obviously you have to risk reward the way you set up a team, and you kind of think, if you look actually going back to last night's game, in the first half when Dragusin was playing on the left of the centre backs, he was being pressed immediately.
Yeah.
And this is not a criticism of Dragusin. It clearly isn't his game, but he was being pressed there very, very quickly, and we were under pressure immediately. So clearly City have made a conscious choice, get the ball to him, then we go. There's a defensive choice of actually, if Werner's the man that's going to have the chance, I'd rather it went to him. It's like, going back many years, Van Dijk.
I was literally just going to say Sissoko, Van Dijk, Anfield vibes.
You have to make these crucial decisions.
But it was a wrong decision last night.
Yeah.
But he got to that point. Let's go back in the goal, because I'm going to just sit back, because at that moment I'm getting into my seat and holding
popcorn chicken everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. But you've seen the brilliant flip by Johnson.
Brilliant ball from Kulusevski, and a very good finish.
Yeah, a good goal.
We then took a corner, which we'd clearly worked on, which everybody was surprised. They stole the Bournemouth corner, basically. They stole the Bournemouth corner, and someone put it into the rose
But
edge.
we tried something different.
And then I don't think the Sarr goal became quite simple when it was clear that we could take a short corner and City weren't ready. And it was very easy to create the opportunity for Sarr. That ball started halfway down the high road. The swerve on it was incredible.
No, not the high road. I think it's more it's Worcester Avenue.
Okay.
But I sat right behind the line of that shot, and sort of reminded me of like when you see sort of tracker on golf when you're watching golf, and you see the draw. It was brilliant. And from the second it left his boot, whether it goes in, it's testing.
The goalkeeper was scared he was going to...
On the telly, watching it on the telly, it almost felt like it started so far out. From the angle that we saw it, almost thought it couldn't go in.
It was so...
But it's I think it's moved about 1.5 yards in total.
He was a bit slow to get down, Ortega.
I also think he was worried he was going to hit his head on the post,
I think,
which he shouldn't be worried about.
He looked a bit very slow to get down, but amazing strike.
He went down like a sort of...
He went down as if
like
he's
Fraser Forster. Saving a penalty. But it was great. I mean, seeing it from behind, and I was really right behind it. It was awesome to watch, and you knew it was close.
Can I read some more ghost Tottenham 11s that we've had come in? Some on our social media. Hossam Ghouli from Johnny Nearan. Yes. Ben Warwick, Ricky or Treat Villa. Ricky Treat. Yeah, okay. Paul Gascoigne, Harry Payne. Someone's just written James Lazarus, Sol Campbell. Yeah. Aurelio Gomez Adams. This game will be played at the Vicente Calderon. Very good.
Nice.
And will be refereed by Howard Cobweb. Good from Ben Warwick. We've had a few others. Deadly King, a few of those. Jose Gorino. What else have we had? Radu Dracula from Ben Alprin. David Sims again. Deadly King. A few, Mickey Vampire Ven. Right, let's talk about Mickey Van der Ven.
It's a lovely segue.
It's this time of the year thing, isn't it?
Okay, quiz question. Apart from playing for Spurs, what do both Gary Lineker and Mickey Van der Ven have in common?
Is this true that Mickey Van der Ven may have soiled himself on the pitch?
Well, there is
How are we
video...
talking about that when he's bloody going to be out for a while?
Well, no,
Halloween?
because it's part of the same incident. So what's been picked up on social media is him rubbing his right hamstring and clutching it, and then something pops out the back of his shorts. For those of a certain generation, remember England-Ireland in the World Cup in 1990 when Gary Lineker did soil himself on the pitch and had to sort of like a dog that's had to sort of like drag himself off the pitch. So something's fallen out of the back of Van der Ven's shorts,
but more worryingly,
not his hamstring.
More worryingly, it's
he was wearing sort of like. He was wearing like those, well, they're not called that, but like.
Hang on a second. Whoa. Paul McWilliam. You talk about the rubbish about Halloween 11. It's just a bit of fun, mate. Unless it's something else we've said. I don't know. Whatever.
He was wearing, you can actually see when he lifts he kind of changes his shorts, you see he is wearing some like cycling shorts, or whatever they are now, clearly his hamstrings are probably on the edge anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, he's right. I agree with you, Paul. Yeah. I agree with you, Paul. Totally.
It was a nice link to Gary Lineker.
Exactly, it's a Spurs thing. Spurs old, Spurs now. But yeah, so his hamstring is a big issue. We said immediately that look, it's not like Chelsea.
No.
He walked
negative.
off.
What happened against Chelsea?
This is not a 2
What happened against Chelsea?
Chelsea was a seriously
ran back, and you could see.
No, but did he hobble off?
He like you could always feel the pop.
Chelsea was the classic FIFA.
Yeah,
wasn't it? When they start holding it, I'd like to think last night will be Fulham City region at the end of this November. I reckon 3 weeks maybe. Which is, do you know what? I'd be fine. Don't play them at City. Let them have the points. They need the points.
We exactly. We all need them to have the points. But yeah, we said immediately like the gut feel was a 3 to 4 weeker rather
which
than
is
a
fine.
3 months,
I think
which you have to deal with.
As much as people melt down about injuries, I think with Van der Ven, you just have to accept it because this is going to happen.
Yeah,
this is going to happen, and it's a risk reward. And the way he plays and the way he runs, it is going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I was watching it last night and thought. Bloody hell,
grade 1, grade 2, as JJJ says.
Yeah, 2 to 3 weeks is absolutely fine. City's in 3.5 weeks, so
you know that poor right winger at Arsenal's constantly getting hamstring injuries.
Still plays every week.
Then plays 3 days later. But yeah, so it wasn't.
But
the same
these
as
are
Chelsea.
proper. These hamstrings are different, aren't they? Because he's going at.
So yeah, you can see it was very different to that. Hopefully, it's just a grade 1 as it is, and yeah, we said instantly, is there an international break mid-November?
Yeah.
So that would be 3-4 weeks from now.
And to be honest, without being extremely arrogant, we've got 2 Premier League games. One of them's Ipswich. We should be fine against Ipswich without that.
And you know what? We've got Galatasaray away next week. Oh yeah, this time next week. And you know what? It's not a must-win game.
It's a bonus game. That
it's one where we don't need to be. But you know, we will come back to squad management and this, that, and the other, and you know, we should be having extra cover on the left.
We're definitely a little short on the left.
Well, the killer on the left is I think Adogi started every game this season apart from 2, and the 2 games
he comes on after 10 minutes.
He
played 85 against Karabag, and he even started against Coventry. In fact, no, he didn't start the Europa League away game.
He's near enough.
Did he start against Coventry?
Yeah, he started and Spence came. He played half, and Spence came on at half
time. And
he's essentially played every game this season apart from 1, which is a lot because now he's playing a lot of international duty. He's had a lot of injuries, Udogie, a lot of niggles in the last
Can
year.
we talk about
and we don't have a backup.
And more important, two things. One, our fullbacks probably more than anyone go through an unreal amount of work.
Yep.
So, if you go back all those years to peak Poch, where we had 4 fullbacks, you had Walker and Rose, but then you had Davis and Trippier, who we were rotating regularly. And so we don't have 4, but also more crucially, we knew about Udogie and Van de Ven's injuries this time
That's
last
what I mean.
year.
Yeah, so
and we
Duke
have
says
not done it.
It's a knock-on effect. Romero has to play more. Udogie has to play
Yes,
more.
that's-
Well, now it's like, for example, who I know it's not massive priority, but like who plays in Galatasaray? You have to play Dragusin.
Yep.
What if he gets injured playing 3 games in a week?
Well, how
you don't
could-
want to be forced into a corner where you just have to play a bit like what City did last night. They had so many injuries, and you just have to play everyone, then play them and play them and play them.
How could a team notionally going for top 4 and notionally going for these multiple cup tournaments only have 3 really centre backs that they really want to play?
Need one more.
One left back that they want to play, one right back they want to play, and then Spence comes into something different. Yeah, this is we
knew we needed to sign
that's
a
what's
Nathan
criminal.
Ake type. We all mentioned
Yeah.
it in the summer. We needed a left-footed left back, centre back.
Can we
in
talk
that-
about Udogie defensively? Because Savino, one step over, it just went past him like he
It was
wasn't
Bowen
there.
all over, weren't it? It was the same goal.
I freeze framed at home last night because I'm a loser. When I got home, the position that West Ham scored and the position that City scored in, it's the same. I'm bored of Vicario scrambling across to his right because the left winger is. It's a great finish, by the way, from Nunes to hit that on the bounce. But Gray, who is not a right back, is a fantastic footballer, but he's not a right back.
Correct.
Actually, at half time, I would potentially have brought on Porro, taken off
Yes.
Sarr and put Gray.
Porro
Correct.
needed rest,
That was
but I agree.
what we were all saying.
But Basuma I thought was excellent, but fine. I'm just Udogie needs to work.
It's frustrating though because he's actually playing really well.
He's improving. Yeah.
No. But as in like going forward, it's not affecting
I think he
him
started
how
the
bad
season
he's been
slowly.
defensively. Because again, first half against West Ham he really struggled, and then second half against
yeah.
West Ham he was great.
He was good in the second half yesterday.
No, we clearly need defensive reinforcements.
Well, can we fix it in January?
I really wanted to see Gray in midfield. We haven't seen him. We've seen him left back. Now seen him right back. Was it Nunes down there left attacking Gray?
Savino was down their left. Well,
This is
they
what-
switched. They switched.
What
But
Sydney
they were having a right go.
Duke's saying here is exactly that. Upgrade Ben Davis because then you make it 4 centre backs and 2 fullbacks because Ben Davis is like wasting a space in the squad because essentially he's becoming a Europa League player. He doesn't get a look in the league, and when would Davis at this moment be playing in the Premier League?
Look,
If Udogie got injured, it'd probably be Spence there, and unless Romero got injured, it would he
might be
I was
injured.
having this exact discussion with a couple of mates.
He's hardly gonna get a kick. It's
After
just a
the
waste.
Alkmaar game, that you've got Forster and Davis sitting in that dressing room, who really should have been moved on in the summer. This is no disrespect to Davis. We all sit here like great pro, this that, and the other, but they could have said to Davis, look.
We're 10 years in now.
You deserve a free transfer. You've been a brilliant servant.
Well, he's
here.
going to get that now.
He'll
though. That's the
he
thing.
gets it at the end of this season, but they could have done a commercial deal and paid him up, saying, look, we need to upgrade on you, but we need you off the wages, blah, 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 and you can have the free transfer, and you get your signing on fee, you deserve it, good luck, you're a great servant to the club, the door is always open. That is not a disrespect to an old player.
Correct.
We, as a football club, need to be moving on, but we've still got so many players in this squad who are not fit for purpose for Ange Bull, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
I think that could happen, well, hopefully in January, though.
Upgrades. I
We
think
should
so.
try and be,
I think they will.
terminate Davis's contract. I know that's
Nah,
quite.
they won't do that.
No, not in like a. Not in. I know when you say terminate
You pay-
contract,
you pay-
it sounds.
you pay it up
but I'll
early.
pay him off and say, we'll give you a move a bit early.
Just keep him till it runs out.
but why
Find
though?
someone
Because
else.
we need. Or if
Just keep him. I mean, sorry, whatever.
But this is like part of my argument about the sort of slight apathy within the club. The fact that I think more serious football, would be like, right, move
don't
on.
say that. I upset people when I say serious club
Well,
would win here.
I just want to look. I get that, but we're going to.
I don't want to be negative. I'm just
No.
saying, like, we're going to sit here in the next few weeks, and the schedule is busy. We've
Yeah,
now
yeah.
got another cup game against Man United
Yeah.
slotted in. This is busy. We are going to be, and I always argue, you're only as good as the worst player in your squad. So Ben Davis, he may not be the worst player in the squad, whatever it is, but look how much Werner is playing. Ben Davis is he is going to have a lot
I
of
think the
minutes.
Werner
moving
thing's it's just very, very unfortunate.
I agree with J-Mac. Gray's not ready for a midfield berth yet. We are stacked in that position. I think we've got some great central midfielders. I get it, but last night maybe that would have been the move for me. We're going to talk to a Villa fan in a minute. I just want to quickly...
But you say we're stacked. I mean, I think we're better with a 4-2-3-1.
I want to come to that.
Okay.
After. We've got a Villa fan coming on in a couple of minutes to talk about Villa. Just want to talk about getting through last night was... Gary's like, I don't care about the League Cup. So key to get through last night.
It was
and he's
really
knocked out.
fun.
If you want to win this cup, you've probably got to beat City at some point. I'd rather do it in the fourth round when they're not picking their first team.
Can I just say, it was actually a really fun evening at the stadium. It was a nice, good atmosphere. It's great under the lights. And it was a decent atmosphere. And it just felt quite relaxed. You know, there was a bit more of the Ange song going on. It had a bit of jeopardy. It felt like a bit of a free punch for both teams, save for picking up injuries. It just felt like football without the sort of weight on the shoulders of, oh my God, if we don't get 3 points today, oh my God, that's it, Champions League's done, or whatever it may be. Like, you know, the league is so overly hyped that actually last night's game just felt like an old school game. It was quite fun, decent away sort of support there. I'm really excited for the Man United game, because actually there's probably going to be 9,000 United fans in there. It'll be a really good atmosphere just before Christmas. And actually that doesn't happen that often. And at the new stadium, we still haven't really had those really cool domestic cup wins that sort of build your memories. And it was just fun last night. It was a fun, good football match, quite open, bit of jeopardy. Thank you very much. That felt like I paid money to be entertained.
And I was it. Were you not entertained?
and I got value for money for that, and it felt quite fun.
Yeah.
So
Big
that
up
was a
Tottenham
nice
Ranger,
night.
one of our members. Hello.
And also, we mentioned this, me and you, maybe last year, and I know we have had some in the League Cup, but in the last 20 years, we hardly beaten anyone in any cups.
Yeah.
Genuinely, we had that one year where we beat. Did we win at the Emirates in the quarterfinals? And we beat Chelsea in one of the. I think it was that Wembley game when we got knocked out in the semis. But we hardly beat anyone decent in cups, and I know it was a City weakened team, but
yeah. Like I said, we are going to just pause on the City game. We will come back to it. We've got Luke Robinson.
We've got more chance of winning the quadruple than City. I don't think we do.
Aston Villa fan. We're going to talk about Villa. Luke is with us. I don't know if he's in the room yet.
You all right?
Villa had a poor result last night against Palace.
They threw it though, didn't
Didn't they make 11 changes?
They didn't even have Watkins or Rodgers on the bench. I think they.
I've got a bit of a technical issue here.
I think they pretty much.
Because you probably haven't turned your pack on.
No. More crucially, I have the thing down.
Well, Ollie may have to sit out of this. Luke, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can, yeah.
I can't hear Luke. I can't hear Luke. Ollie's left us. This is all going swimmingly. We'll talk amongst ourselves for a minute. Hello, Luke. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate.
Got you now, Luke. We've lost Ollie due to a technical issue, but you got myself and Jake Sanders in the room. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Great to be back on.
Thank you for joining us. Look, we'll come to Villa's towards Sunday's game in a minute. But I want to ask you about Villa. We obviously went through in the League Cup last night, beating City 2-1. You've lost at home to Palace. Unai Emery made wholesale changes. I think it was 10 changes, only McGinn. A bit like us, it's been a long time since you won a trophy. I think it's 96, your last trophy. How's that gone down, losing in the League Cup last? I know you've got bigger fish to fry, but how's it gone down?
Yeah, I think to any fan, any hardcore fan, like you mentioned, we haven't won a trophy since 96, which is a long time. But then on the flip side, you can understand the priorities of the squad rotation. Like last season, we had a lot of injuries, and when we went towards the end of the season, we really started to struggle. So I think Emery has tried to manage the load of the players. And I think with our next 3 games, we've got you guys away, we've got Bruges in the Champions League, we've got Liverpool away. We need all of our players to be fit, firing and ready to play. So I think he's just looked at it and thought, it's not the top of my list, and unfortunately we're going to have to make changes. But as a fan, I want to see us win something, but it's got to be, I don't know, it's like a balancing act, isn't it, of what we do.
And how are you feeling about the season in general? Take out last night, you've had some amazing nights, beating Bayern Munich 1-0. Reminded me, showing my age, of you beating Inter way back in the day. Was it Phil King, I think, scored the winning penalty? It's been a great time for Villa recently.
Yeah, it's the best time I've ever had supporting Villa. in the Champions League, watching us beat Bayern Munich, Champions League nights. I've never been able to extend. I've watching great sides play, so it's been special. But I think the continuation from last season has been really impressive. The fact that we've played Champions League and we still haven't lost in a Premier League game after that as well. So we're super consistent. We're doing really well. We were on an 11-game unbeaten run before last night, which was really good in all competitions. So I think this season we're in a good place, and I think we're probably going to be, fighting with you guys, Chelsea, to try and get top 4 or maybe something a bit higher. But I think that's where we're looking at.
Just a question, going back to the trophies. Gary, one of our listeners, actually one of our regulars on here, has asked, do you get a lot of the Warra trophy nonsense of Villa? Obviously, we get a whole load of stick for not ever winning a trophy. You see it a lot on social media. Maybe it's just my algorithm, but do you get that as a Villa fan? Maybe you do from Blues fans, but actually on the whole, do people pick on Villa for not being a club or winning trophies like they used to?
It's a tough one, really, because we have had a long spell of us being absolutely rubbish. So I think when you are rubbish, no one expects you to be winning trophies anyway. You guys have been top 4 in and around it for a number of years. So there's that sense of expectation of sort of you're in a good place, so you should be winning something. I think Arsenal are starting to get that as well now. The fact that they've only won an FA Cup with Arteta, so he needs to have some silverware. But I think with Emery, we're in a position where within his reign, we are going to want to have won something. We don't, I don't really want to look back on this and just say, oh, the only thing we did was get top 4. So I think, it would be nice, but I don't really think, like the question that you asked, I don't really think we get mentioned of like, why don't we win anything? So
that's just
I think it's probably, I think it's just you, to be fair.
In terms of a successful season, what does a successful season look like for Villa? Because when we were regularly finishing in the top 4 under Podge, even when we finished second, finishing 4th the year after always felt like a successful season. Because with, the Liverpool's, Arsenal, Cities, even United's, Chelsea's and Spurs, from your sort of point of view, would finishing 4th be another really successful season?
Oh, I think it'd be like amazing, to be fair. I think with Emery, he's prioritised Premier League. Like Premier League is his priority because he sees that we can get a big objective by getting in the top 4 through the Premier League. So he always mentions that that's his priority. I think for where we are, I think obviously last season was the first year that we was in Europe for so many years. So Conference League, Champions League. I think for me personally, a form of European football again would be the minimum that I want. And I think it's something that the club need. I think on the pitch, we're very good, but off the pitch, we're a million miles off you guys, corporate, commercially. Yeah. And I think the Champions League helps grow the club with the revenue that comes in. So I think getting European football consecutively in Champions League football would be really, really good. But I think it might sound weird to you guys, but I think Emery's, I don't think he's just looking at 4th. I think he's trying to finish as high as he can. So that's where I think Emery's at, and I think the club are at as well.
What have you sort of made of Spurs this season? Because, it feels very sort of weird from our point of view. We're always sort of a couple of results away from a crisis, and, beating Villa and beating Ipswich before the international break would make for quite a decent start to the season. Now we're sort of still in the cup and doing well in Europe. But what have you sort of made from it from someone that's, not invested?
Yeah, I think whenever I watch you, I think you're a great watch. You're exciting. You're fun to watch. I think at times when it's all going very well and it's free flowing and it's expressive and everybody's on it and the football's really good, I think you're one of the best teams in the league. I do think you've probably got this little bit of another side to you where if teams can probably take you to a place that you don't really want to go to, such as Palace, Brighton, I think you come a little bit unstuck with those certain scenarios, really. And I think there's probably needs to be a bit of a balancing act. And I don't know loads about Spurs, but I don't know whether Ange does that. I think it's sort of like one way and that's it. So Yes, that's how I feel from afar, and that's probably why I think if you ask me who will finish higher, Villa or Spurs, I'd probably say Villa, because I think we have got that consistency about us where we can dig in at times. Like if I think about the game that we've got on Sunday, I think you probably will have a spell in the game where you are dominant, creating chances, but I think if Villa can sit in and defend well, grow into it and play on the counter, that's how we beat Arsenal last year. And I think that's how we beat you last season at your place as well. I think that's probably the blueprint that we've got, really. So I think that enables us to sort of, we can play really well, but we can also have that side of our game as well, which makes us quite difficult to play against.
Looking on to Sunday, Luke, looking at Villa's games this season, I didn't realise you only lost to Arsenal before last night, and obviously last night was a bit of a reserve, so you've been prolifically scoring away from home, but arguably this is your toughest away test. You played West Ham, Leicester, Young Boys, Wickham, Ipswich and Fulham, all good results obviously. The draw at Ipswich may have been a little bit disappointing, but it's a fully fit squad. I think Mings came back last night. You've beaten us twice at White Hart Lane, Jesus, show my age again, in the last 2 years. My son's been to 25 Spurs games, seen 2 defeats, both against Villa. He's banned from coming on Sunday. Obviously, last year we won 4-0. The game dominated by the away sides last year. The red card helped us, but I thought we played very well. How do you see Sunday going?
I think it's a really tough game. I think from a Villa perspective, it's a big opportunity for us because we could go 8 points clear of you guys. So after 10 games, that's absolutely massive. But I think you guys will be bang up for it. I think, like I mentioned earlier, how I see it going is probably how I said earlier. I think the beauty of us at the minute as well is that we've got a fully fit squad, which is really good. Our bench is really strong. I think how you play sometimes when sort of everyone's attacking and you leave those sort of 2 at the back, I think Watkins is really good at exploiting that. We did it against Bayern. We've done it against Arsenal. So is Van der Ven out maybe?
Yeah, he won't play. He won't play.
So I think Watkins is probably, his eyes will light up if he sees that he's out. So I think it's going to be a tough one. I think what I do think is that I know we beat you last year, but I don't think Emery's got the better of Ange yet tactically. I think both games you guys probably
last year at home we deserved at least a point.
Yeah, I think Villa stole it. Villa did steal it at home last year.
Yeah. So I think we haven't really played that well against you. So hopefully, from a Villa perspective, Emery's sort of fine-tuned certain things with your system, and he's able to sort of get us to play a little bit better. But I think it'll be difficult.
Is Matty Cash going to start?
Oh yeah, looking forward to that.
Oh, you like him, don't you?
He's always welcome.
Probably not. I don't think he will. I think he'll put Concert at right back. Right. I think he tends to do that in sort of like the big games. So I expect Cash will probably be on the bench.
Can I just ask you before we let you go, Luke, a player that you bought for £8 million, who I really like, Morgan Rogers. Talk to us a little bit about him.
Yeah, very good.
Oh, he's phenomenal. Weirdly, when Emery signed him last year, there was this thing that in training, Emery kept calling him a championship player, and he really made Rodgers sort of want to become a Premier League player. And there was a time where Emery just turned around and said he's a Premier League player now. So it's sort of like he earned his stripes with Emery, but he is fantastic. I mean, when he picks that ball up in between the lines and starts dribbling, and he's just bumping off every player in sight, and he's so good. But I think there's so much more to come from him. I think his end product needs to improve a little bit, sort of like his finishing and sort of the weight of pass and when to release the ball. But in our system, how he plays in behind Watkins, he's doing so well. And for the money. And I think it shows, that there is still good value in the Championship. And I think sometimes that gets overlooked, really.
Yeah. All right, Luke, I'll let you go. But before I do, prediction, you predicted you to beat us last time. You got that one right. So go on this time.
I think there'll be a lot of goals. I'm going to go 2-2.
2-2. All right, I'll take. Oh, I'm not going to take that, but okay.
Tools are very. I don't want to say we're going to lose, but think we're going to lose prediction.
But think you're going to win.
I'm really looking forward to it. Will you be there, Luke, or will you be watching? Is it on the telly?
No, I'll be watching on TV.
Yeah. I always look forward to Spurs Villa. There's 2 proper football clubs in it, and it'll be a good one. Luke, thanks as always for joining us. Really great to talk to you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Cheers.
See you later, guys.
Cheers. Great. Luke's always really, really good. He's great on Twitter. I actually looked at some of his Villa stuff on his YouTube channel. Luke Robinson. He's got some really good Villa content. So if you ever fancy going down a Villa rabbit hole, he's the man. Looking forward to the game. I want to talk to you what you said, Ollie, before we spoke to Luke about 4-2-3-1, like being stacked in midfield. Because I'm quite cautious, I think that's our best formation. I know this is going to offend you, Snake Sanders.
I'm not offended.
I would put Maddison on the bench, and I'll be playing 4-2-3-1 on Sunday.
The only thing I think it might not happen is because he didn't come on last night, which makes me think.
Was that because he's out of favour, or was it because he was keeping him for Sunday?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you're going to play 4-2-3-1, you've noticed you've got 2 starting spots for your sort of holder type of midfielders.
Yeah.
And we've only got 3 of them, brackets plus Gray.
Yeah.
So, Sarr last night, for example, got a booking pretty early on, and he then did one more foul, and he was
lucky. Not lucky, but he was on the edge.
We were all saying he's got to come off. Yeah. So you don't leave yourself much margin for error in terms of your squad build. And Maddison and Kulusevski probably have to rotate more as your 10, notionally, because, Kulusevski's doing an unbelievable amount of work at the moment. His running is incredible, but he's not going to be able to keep it up.
He was brilliant last night. I said on Twitter, he annoyed me in about the 94th minute when he didn't kick Kovacic over. About a minute earlier, he'd applauded, Eddie Gray. Archie Gray for the foul down their left.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
It was a great foul. He got a standing ovation from me and a few others.
He pulled his top off.
Brilliant foul.
We need to do more than that.
Right, and then a minute later,
sometimes you get a player that does like a little, it's like, if you grab someone, do not let them go. And he didn't.
Kulu should have just taken Kovacic out, but anyway.
Kulu, by the way, I saw stats on Twitter. Kulu's record against Man City is incredible.
Goals and assists.
7 goals and assists in 7 games.
Well, if you think about his Spurs career really kicking off at
the deck he had, don't they?
The deck he had, nice.
And, I was there that day, and that was the first real game that I'd sort of seen him. He played in a cup game, but obviously that he came on, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, who's this right winger? He's absolutely useless." But then that game was when Kane. It doesn't sound like Spurs fans at all.
Just had a message from our producer. Remember to push memberships. I'm going to do it. That's the kind of guy I am. I keep saying it. I probably don't make it clear enough, as I've been told before. If you want to become an Echo of Glory member, please do so. You get a lovely little cockerel like Robert when you join in the comments. You can do that online by clicking join on our YouTube channel on a desktop or a laptop. Please do that. There are a couple of options. Help us out here at Launchpod Studios. You get some extra content. Recently, I had to chat with Mickey Hazard. There's chats with Jamie Carragher, Paul Robinson, 2 brilliant interviews with guys that played under Ange, Thomas Broich, who played under him in Australia, and James Holland, who played under him for Australia, and other bits and pieces. And we'll be adding that to that. So if you do want to spend a little of your hard-earned cash helping us out here at Launchpod Studios, please do. That is my public service announcement. I'm not going to do it again.
Talking about public service announcements, this is going to sound really, really weird, but Sunday will be our game where we do our memorial bit before the game for November the 11th. And something that really resonates with me, like having had a season ticket at Spurs for over 30 years, it definitely feels like one of those sort of quiet moments of the English football calendar, sort of Memorial Sunday, and sort of it's a really poignant part of our calendar. I'd just like to say that it's one of those, the clocks are dark, it gets dark by that point. It feels like the season's starting.
Yeah.
It really feels like quite an important day of the calendar. So yes, I'm probably going to get like pelters on that, but yeah.
No, I think it's a great point.
No, it's just a really, it's great. It's a really interesting one in the calendar. Like you think of early January for the
it's a nice thing,
FA
isn't
Cup.
it?
Yeah,
it's a nice thing.
So that'll be our one, and yeah.
But aside from that, football when it gets, I like football.
It won't actually be dark just because it's a 2, isn't it?
So by 3, 4, by the end of the game, it might be getting darkish, but it certainly feels like the season is starting. I made that point a few weeks ago that we're all throwing our toys out of the pram about the season, but the clocks hadn't even gone back. So I feel like the season is starting now. You're getting into that 3 games a week, and there's that real sort of the table is taking shape. Yeah,
it's my first game as a fan, I think, since the North London Derby last season.
Really?
Yeah.
So when did you last
see us last season?
Well, when did you see us win?
Well, I've worked, didn't I? I worked at West Ham.
Oh, hang on. I'm going to interrupt you. New member, Alan Leslie. Thank you, Alan, for becoming a new member. Well done to you. We really, really appreciate it. You went to Ange's presser before City. How was he, by the way?
He was good.
Yeah,
he was good.
He can be a bit spiky.
Do you know what? It was quite an interesting one. It was one of the ones where I wanted to go to more than any other, because a cup game with a Tottenham manager is so interesting. A Premier League is, the usual, and I knew he was going to get the questions about, the importance of it. And I don't know how much you read of it, but the thing that frustrates me is I completely understand as a manager, you don't want to prioritise one game. We've heard that before. But the thing that slightly frustrates me, and I'm sure others, is that he can't understand that how much we want to win a trophy. He can't accept that. Because even, it was almost like patronising. Yeah, it'd be a great day for the fans. But what if we're 12th and we win a League Cup? Then what?
Well, I don't think.
And he compared it to Ten Hag, which is right. And my piece was, Ange Postecoglou says that winning trophies don't even keep you your job, which is true. Because if we won the League Cup and he finished 12th, he'd be sacked, right?
Correct.
We can agree with that?
Yep.
Probably.
But
Good question. It's a good question.
The harsh reality.
Go on.
The harsh reality is, where do you finish difference between finishing 12th or 10th in terms of financial versus winning the League Cup? That's the harsh reality of football these days. The League Cup is great for the three of us and all of our fans and members. But,
he's basically saying, you can't really measure how good you are until, anything other than the league. And if you're in a position in the league where you're good enough, like all the top teams, you will naturally compete in the cups, right? Because I know Poch used to bin off the League Cup, but generally, when we were at our best under Poch, we competed for FA Cups. We got to 3 semis in 4 years?
Michel Vorm at Wembley.
I know he messed them up, but do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Generally, when you're, regularly coming in the top 4, and I know City and Liverpool.
Usually, you go deep in the cups.
But he was.
But you
fine.
also do need luck with the draws because, we as a club are going to have a squad better than a number of others, but not as good as others. And it depends when you get those bigger clubs.
Which is why I think knocking City out last night was big, because if you want to win this, you've got to beat them at some point.
Yeah, but also, we're now looking at a Man United game in December. But I think but United are a totally different way to we are in the Europa League. They've now got but they've got to win their games. We're going to be a bit easier. So actually,
I've checked. United have City away on that Sunday.
We play Southampton at 7 o'clock that Sunday.
Yeah.
Night.
There's a bit of a thing about this. There's a bit of a thing about, that I saw someone tweeting last night that us and United play on the Sunday and Arsenal and Newcastle play on the Saturday, the week after. So one of the teams, it doesn't really work, does it?
I think they might play Thursday. I reckon we could play Man United on the Thursday night.
It's also kind of Christmas season.
You think Thursday? But United play on the Saturday.
They'll have to move their game to Sunday.
But then you've got potentially got League Cup semi-finals at sort of end of January, February time. It's a lot of games to play. So it's all you got to get luck with draws as well. But I agree, the better teams naturally do seem to mysteriously get to.
This is a really tough. This is the first time in 14 years that it's an all Premier League quarter final. It's a really tough quarter final. Like, who's going to go through? Arsenal are going to probably beat Palace. Liverpool should beat Southampton, and Newcastle are playing Brentford.
I agree with what you're saying, but I think most League Cups you get 6 out of 8. And then you get maybe a Blackburn, or you get a
Bradford Swansea final.
But I don't think it's that different. It's it's unfortunate to get potentially to this stage and have played City.
You weren't here last week, Jake. How much do you want to win the League Cup?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah,
desperate to win it.
Yeah,
but of course I want to win the league. I want to win every tournament.
I want to win it more just to get it out of the way, get the trophy out of the way.
But I think there's this. I don't know. It's like you hear a lot of pods when they're talking about. The League Cup is quite. The League Cup is probably the hard. It's certainly harder than the FA Cup to win because naturally you've got so many, much more concentrated.
It's all football league clubs. You ain't getting
exactly,
United in the fifth round like Arsenal did a few years ago.
Like you look at the runs, and it's a really tough thing to win. Like the Europa League, if you look at our quarterfinal lineup we just mentioned there, that will be harder than the quarterfinal lineup in the Europa League.
I'm having rows with Gary at the moment, right? Not rows. He keeps telling me that we should win the Europa League. And I think phrase is important. I think we could win the Europa League. He's just said, let me ask the panel, if that City side that played last night competed in the Europa League, would they win it? I think they'd have a good chance. I think they'd be up there. I don't know.
Where are the goals coming from in that City?
Yeah, that's true.
Tell me.
Yeah.
You think Phil Foden's going to,
Yeah, over 15 games
They've got some really good players in there, but no, I'm not.
I just think... Steve Hay says this bloody obsession with trophies.
We've got to have aims.
Right. What's the point? What are you saying? Fourth is what we're aiming for, Steve. Let us know. Like, We haven't won a trophy since 2008.
Can I just say something talking about the League Cup and Europa League?
Yeah.
I had this conversation with my friend last night, and we're gonna win one and then win another, aren't we? If it happens,
London bus.
we're gonna win the League Cup and then the Europa League.
But look,
I'm not saying we're going to win either, but it would be the most Tottenham thing to go and do 2 in one season.
But it's not an obsession of trophies, but we as fans have got to have our targets. The club have got to have their targets. And what, if anything, is a football club about? Not to aim to win every trophy possible. Yes, there's pragmatism involved. Yes, I appreciate we're not going to win the quadruple. I get that. But look at the title of this podcast, which has
could win the treble.
Quadruple.
Oh, we can still win the quadruple. But like you look at the title of this podcast, which has got a word in there that resonates with the history of our club. Yeah, Anne. No, but the point is like, what is glorious about finishing fourth?
I've always been a.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
I was always give me an FA Cup every day of the week.
Don't get me wrong. It's an achievement. I respect it. You know, if you offered it to me in the 90, but the point is that we've done that, and we need to move on. We need to start winning things and become a club synonymous with winning trophies, because then you get better players who want to play with you, and you become better.
Look, Steve, I have to say I disagree. I think it's time now. It's time now. And I'm blocking out all the noise of other. I don't care what other fans think. I just, like you said, glory resonates with this club, and it's been too long. And yes, the League Cup is not necessarily the glory that we all want, but I'll bloody take it.
Do you think that United game's the biggest game of our season?
Annoyingly,
because I saw people saying last
7 weeks away, which is annoying. Is it the biggest game? You were talking right. What you said to me on the way in, Ollie. Like you love last night's game because it was a cup tie and it was fun, and everyone just went for it. It was backwards and forwards. There's a lot of stress around Premier League games. I'm going to be stressed watching us play against Villa.
It's weird that I feel more stress through the Premier League games when, let's be honest here, whether you win or you lose or you draw, there's another game happening in a week's time. You're not out the tournament. Whereas in a cup game, it's complete jeopardy. You're out if you lose.
I think to answer your question, Jake, I think Villa is the biggest game of. I think most league games are the biggest game of your season.
As cut and dry as
I think it's a
biggest
massive
game of our season. For me, like I go into Sunday's a massive game, North London, but the cup games for me, like Coventry, I was like, this is a massive game, regardless of who we've got. Every single cup game for Tottenham is humongous.
I think the closer you get, it bigger it obviously becomes.
But it's also a generational thing as well. You know, if you spoke to our, both mine and Johnny's sons are sitting in the editing room this morning for half-term creche. But if you spoke to them about their attitude to domestic cups they'd have a completely different view. Remember, we grew up in the days when the whole of Park Lane end would be full of an away support of Oxford United or Notts County, and people would get those references. 10,000 fans in that away end. And it was like a carnival atmosphere, and it was incredible.
It's very different,
and it's very, very different now. And it's really sad because it still burns inside us of a certain generation.
But I think the United game, what you said about them bringing 9,000, that will be one of the biggest games the stadium has had. City in the Champions League, we've had big league games. I think that I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, we've not had a big domestic cup game.
We had.
No, we've not had a domestic quarter final there. We've not had.
We had West Ham.
Brentford, but it was behind closed doors.
We had West Ham in the same stage of this tournament when we won 2-1, but it was really weird because it was still COVID year, and I thought it was going to be like this is the big starting point from getting back into the stadium, and it was ended up being about 45.
Brentford a semi-final?
Yeah,
that
was COVID. I mean,
it was one leg semi-final behind.
So West Ham is the one, but it was weird because, like you say,
we had Man City last season. It's a fourth round of the FA Cup.
We had Norwich, which was fifth round, which we went out just before COVID. I think that was.
But this is Man United.
This is Manchester United.
Before semi-final, if you win it, I think it's a massive game.
I'm trying to think. The last Man United Cup game that we've played them at White Hart Lane. Am I going to say 99 quarter final when Ginola destroyed them and we won the League Cup and the Manchester club won the treble?
Well, Gareth Dace, actually, if you scroll back, every time we've won a cup, we've had beaten big teams en route.
We have to. Of course you have to. And Man United are a behemoth of a football club, managed badly and run badly. But, I'm really excited about it. I said a few days before Christmas.
We've also got Liverpool. You know that we've got Liverpool's the game after, so how much of an exciting week could that be?
Oh,
Liverpool, then United, then Liverpool. We could be bouncing.
We've probably got Europa League a few days before as well. mixed in there.
Rangers.
Rangers. Wow,
We've got Rangers, United, and Liverpool in like.
I mean,
the
look
space
at
of
that.
10
That's
days.
three behemoths of the British game.
Yeah,
I agree with
three most
Padani there.
successful.
I agree with Padani there. Winning is not everything, but it does defeat the purpose. We've got to go out and you want to win every game. You're not going to, but as you get a couple of steps from a final, I think it's got to be.
And don't get me wrong, we have had some incredible moments. You know, no one can take away Lucas Moura. You know, that moment is, you know, if you capture that moment,
that's the equivalent of winning.
But the point is that you still want to see your guy, and again, showing my age, walking up those steps at Wembley. You know, lifting.
They
those,
still go up the steps.
Yeah, but they're just different steps. But you know, with the ribbons around the trophy.
You're right, Ollie. Last time we played him in the league, in the home tie in the League Cup, I think at any point in the League Cup was a fifth round. Beat him 3-1, 2nd of December '98. Did you know? I looked this up last night. This will be United's first away draw in the League Cup. 10 of their last 12 League Cup games have been at home, and the only ones that weren't, they had to play away because it was the final neutral and the semi-final against Forest, so they had to play one of them away. Their draws in the cup have been ridiculous.
And I think it mirrors that on the FA Cup as well.
Yeah,
and they're always on TV, obviously. And it's again another sad state of modern. You know, I know you obviously work within the industry, but you know, but the point is that modern football is dictated by that, and the FA Cup and you know the League Cup have really suffered from European football. You know, as I said, but yeah, look, I'm going to take it at face value. Really excited about it. And let's go for it. You know, it doesn't happen often.
Pedrani says we haven't really discussed the game against the game plan. I'm no tactician myself. He says I found it interesting. We relinquished possession.
I'm not sure we happily relinquished it.
No, City just dominate the ball. Right?
Yeah, because I actually sent this morning on our group the stats that came up. And we had 32%.
Did we?
So that was obviously a huge departure. But you know, first of all, would anyone have put money on the score being 2-1? At half time, if he went into the bookies at half time,
full time,
and then saying it's going to be 2-1 at full time. But
I thought the commentator said something like,
but
there's been 22 goals in the League Cup at half time, you know, because it was
really high scoring.
And he goes, and I doubt we're seeing the last of it here.
We defended
the box really well.
I think we defended really well. I'm going to come on to that in a second. We defended really well, and actually we had better chances. We had and we had plenty of breakaways that were really good.
Bar the Basuma off the line, which was incredible.
Yeah.
What did they really do? They had that shot, was it? Might have been one of the kids that I thought had gone in from where I was sat.
I'm going to be honest, I need to go in a few minutes.
We're stopping in a minute.
But by the way, drag us in. I'm just going to say drag us in because weirdly last night's game totally suits him because he had to defend. And Dragazin is clearly a very good defender. Very good. Reads the game, reads danger. He's always there on crosses. He knows where to.
Absolutely.
And but you know, is he an Ange defender on a high line / playing out for the back? He's going to have to be tested on that. But I thought he defended, which I think
it was timely. Playing against City, beating City for him. Because if he didn't play last night, you know, he's hardly kicked the ball. He's started one game or 2 games.
He's got a run.
He's now going to have a run.
I'd play him on Sunday, then on Thursday.
Yep.
And then again on Saturday.
Oh no, he's going to play now for every game of the month. Really.
All right, we're going to finish up. I'm going to just quickly look on Sunday. It's a very, very, very tough game against a very good Villa side who are all fit. They don't have any problems.
Well recruited. I think as Spurs fans, there's the frustration. You're like Villa were, you know, relegate. You know, they're in the Championship not that long ago, and they've shot past us, and they're buying players that we should have bought.
I don't think they've shot past us. They just got over the line last season, but I mean, they could do so again. I think personally, if we go 4-1, 4-1, or whatever it is we've been playing, this 4-3-3 could be very open. I would go 4-2-3-1. I don't think he's going to. He's going to go
Maddison
back.
will play.
Maddison and Kulu. Yeah, with Basuma sitting in front. Yeah, he is, isn't he?
Yeah,
yeah. It's gonna.
I think we're going to beat him though.
Do you? All right, let's finish up with a prediction.
Home form's good.
Home form is very good. Their away form's good. But like I said to Luke, they haven't played anyone yet really of any note with respect to all of those teams. Of course. Prediction for Sunday?
Yeah, we're the experts of winning away from home, aren't we? I'm going to go like 1-0 and be completely... Well, because I've you keep on going 3-1.
Why did anyone ever predict a clean sheet? You mean Villa 1-0? We don't do clean sheets.
No, you know what? I thought we defended quite well last night.
We're not conceding. Oh God, I'm going to jinx it. We're averagely conceding one.
And I'll tell you what, I just wanted to be a bit like different because I've been going 3 because everyone's
last time we won 1-0 was Burnley in the FA Cup
in the league. We beat AZ the other day.
But, you sit there and you'd be like, 3-1 feels like a very natural Spurs score. Like, we're going to concede. And actually, we've got the chance of scoring goals. Actually, we're not creating, the Solanke thing about everything in his game is brilliant, but he's not having shots. Johnson's not really having shots. So it might not be a really high score. And they're really good. It's going to be quite a tight game. I think it's going to be a much tighter game. And I think we're going to come out 1-0.
Yeah, we've not won 1-0 at home in the league under Ange. Luton away.
I reckon 2-3-1 us.
Okay. You don't want to know my prediction.
I think
we do.
I'm going to go...
Just go 2-2 tomorrow.
Did we do 4-4 with them once?
Yeah, so the 125th anniversary.
I'm going
to go 3-1 because Gary would say 3-1, I think. So I'm going to go
3-1. 4-4.
4-4?
Yeah.
Well, what would the odds on that be? Like 100 to 1? Would it be one of those ones?
Right. What? Sorry.
Aston Villa home's obviously a game that resonates with you. It's an amazing history.
Oh, with the pilot tie loss, we'd lost 4-2.
No. The day before your wedding.
Oh, the day before my... Sorry, Nina.
The two Rafa van der Vaart goals.
Crouch knockdowns.
The Crouch knockdowns. And is that he celebrated with the grandma, didn't he?
Yeah. Right. Happy Halloween, everyone. Hope you like our Halloween studio.
100 to 1 for all.
I'm on it. As Sean, the Australian, said, he's Australian. If you call that a spider, I mean, he's Australian. God knows what they got over there. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I think Sunday's going to be mental. I agree, Robert. Madison and Kulusevski might be an issue in this game. Ange will do what Ange wants to do. Hopefully comes out with all 3 points. Jake, I know you're itching to go, so I'm going to slap this out just a little bit longer to annoy you.
I'll walk out. I'm walking out any minute.
All right, we're done. Thank you for joining us. We will see you Monday, where I think Gary and Ollie will be in the studio to dissect the game against Villa and talk about Galatasaray. I'll let you go, Jake. See you soon, and up the Spurs.